In 1555, Nostradamus publishes Les Prophéties, or the Prophecies, a collection of his major long-term predictions. Worried about potential religious persecution, he uses quatrains. A quatrain is a short, condensed form of poetry. He also mixes in other languages, like Greek, Italian, Latin, and Provençal, a dialect from southern France, to obscure their meanings.
We're at the very beginning of what will be the witchcraft trials of the next century. But at this time, there is a kind of sweet spot where somebody like Nostradamus can operate without fear of being burned to death.
By the mid-1550s, Nostradamus' reputation has grown so much that he's invited to the French royal court in 1556 by the Queen of France, Catherine de' Medici.
Catherine de' Medici invites Nostradamus to provide a horoscope for her 3 children, and he makes a chilling prediction that all 3 will ascend the throne. This means that at least 2 of them would die.
This is a prediction with a sting in its tail.
Ultimately, this would come to pass.
Fate would also intertwine Nostradamus with Catherine's husband, Henri II.
So Henri II frequently would ask for predictions from astrologers about upcoming battles and tournaments, but usually his courtiers would only share with him favorable things. However, several astrologers warned him on the eve of his 40th birthday about the possibility of a head injury. Concerned, Catherine de' Medici sent a message to Nostradamus to ask if this was true, and he confirmed the warning. Alarmed, she made it her mission to keep Henri safe, and she managed to do so until 1559. When Henri II is hosting a tournament to celebrate a new peace treaty with Spain, he is tragically killed in a freak accident jousting.
A lance went through his eye, and Nostradamus predicted more or less something similar to that.
In the wake of the tragedy, members of the court immediately claimed that Nostradamus predicted the event in his 1559 almanac, citing the verse, "The Great One to be no more." Later, people also linked the king's death to quatrain 135 from Les Prophéties. This quatrain will become one of Nostradamus' most famous prophecies. The young lion will overcome the older one in a field of combat in a single fight. He will pierce his eyes in their golden cage, 2 wounds in one. Then he dies a cruel death.
What actually happens is that a younger knight called Montgomery, whose sigil is a lion, kills the King of France, Henri, whose sigil also features a lion, in a joust. It's an accident during the joust where basically the lance hits the helmet and a shaft of wood, a splinter of wood, goes through the visor and into the king's head. And he languishes for a while before dying in agony. All of this appears to make the prediction of Nostradamus come true.
A lot of the horoscopes are written in such a way that they suggest things that feel kind of concrete, but there's always a vagueness to it. And when we kind of read a horoscope, we have something called confirmation bias, which means if we believe that's true, we want to look for the evidence that supports it, and we negate the evidence that doesn't. And so we start to kind of see a message in there that's more personal than what's really delivered. And like 10 people can look at the same horoscope and say, that's me.
While his fame grows, his life is coming to its natural end.
Nostradamus passes away on July 2nd on the feast of the Visitation of Notre Dame. Notre Dame, his namesake, which has led some people to suggest that even in his death there is some sort of connection to the divine, some sort of meaning that we can try to ascertain.
Nostradamus is laid to rest at Saint-Laurent, a church in Salon-de-Provence in the south of France. But even in his death, his legacy as a prophet of doom only grows.
Why? Because it is a century of conflict, of darkness, of horror. There are wars, there are revolutions, the King of England is beheaded, there's the Great Plague of London, the Great Fire of London, there's the 30 Years' War, and through all of this, people turn to Nostradamus to see what's going to happen next.
And one of the most harrowing events linked to Nostradamus' predictions was the Great Fire of London in 1666.
Fire sweeps through London and nearly destroys the entire city. And after the blaze, people turn to Nostradamus for answers, and they find them.
The blood of the just will commit a fault at London. Burnt through lightning of 23's the 6, the ancient lady will fall from her high place. Several of the same sect will be killed.
He makes a reference to the ancient lady who will fall from her high place, and that's certainly how it felt to the people of London, that their city, their sacred city, had been consumed in flames.
Well over 200 years after the Prophet of Doom's death, he is still widely read in Europe, especially in his native France. But it is the events of the French Revolution that will take his reputation to new heights.
In 1789, the French Revolution explodes onto the scene, and once again, Nostradamus' predictions are at the forefront. By this point in time, his quatrains have ingratiated themselves into French culture. Both sides in the Revolution point to Nostradamus for predictions, for solace, for answers to what's going on.
But not everyone in revolutionary France celebrates Nostradamus.
The French Revolution becomes much more radical than it had been before. Groups like the Jacobins begin to dismantle what they see as the vestiges of old France, and Nostradamus becomes one of their targets.
A group of revolutionary soldiers deliberately went, unearthed his bones, scattered them, and desecrated his space as a sign that they rejected his authority.
And then what happens? Well, the story runs is that they are all dead the next day. Now, whether or not this story is true or not, it kind of feeds into a growing myth that surrounds Nostradamus, that he is this magician, this prophesier operating from the grave, that he has magical powers, that he can inflict curses. And it really does kind of build up his profile as this rather supernatural figure.
As the French Revolution comes to an end, another of Nostradamus' predictions attracts attention.
In 1799, Napoleon made his way to Paris, and it's at this point that he ends the revolution. The French were very aware of the prognostications of Nostradamus, believed that this event was predicted in quatrain 160.
Near Italy, an emperor shall be born who shall cost the empire a pretty pence.
Now, people have looked at the birth of Napoleon Bonaparte in Corsica and his subsequent rise to becoming Emperor of France, and then, of course, the fact he expanded the empire massively, but then it collapsed in on itself with terrible consequences. They've looked at that as being proof that Nostradamus predicted the rise and fall of Napoleon.
And Napoleon will not be the last dictator that people claim Nostradamus predicts will rise.
In the 1930s, as Hitler and the Nazi Party rise to power, many people point to quatrain 224 as evidence that Nostradamus had predicted it all along.
Beasts wild with hunger shall swim the rivers. Most of the host shall move against the Ister. He'll have the great one dragged in iron cage when the child the German Rhine surveys.
It should be noted that Ister is spelt Hister in the early modern French, which most scholars believe refers to the Danube River. Now, Hitler was born in a town called Braunau am Inn, which was on the River Inn, a tributary of the Danube River. So this little-known quatrain, which nobody was talking about before, now will forever be associated with Hitler.
Nazis themselves would go even further, attempting to weaponize Nostradamus' writings to justify their warfare.
The Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, alights on Nostradamus and his writings as a way to prove that the Third Reich will succeed.
In March of 1940, Joseph Goebbels commissions a pamphlet which predicts the fall of France and Great Britain. He has 83,000 copies of this pamphlet printed. This is Nostradamus as a weapon of war.